everybody, and welcome to the Tiger Global Case Competition 2020 Global Competition. I would like to welcome everybody to this wonderful competition today. We are powered by Crimson Education with Tiger Global Management as the principal partner and PwC as our official sponsor. A big thank you also to ESSEC as a sponsor. My name is Nama, and I am an academic advisor with Crimson and will be your host today. Congratulations to everyone presenting and on being a global finalist in the largest online global high school case competition, TGCC 2020. Thank you to all the students who registered. 2020 was our most competitive year with over 2,500 competitors, 600 teams, and over 10 workshops and exclusive webinars. Crimson has powered TGCC from day one, as we believe it is imperative for ambitious students to have outlets to practice practical skills in high school and to give them a competitive edge, which is exactly what we do at Crimson. In this session, we're going to have the top two teams from North America, Central and Southern America, and EMEA. And in round one earlier today, we had teams from Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, Eastern and Central Asia, and Russia present their solutions. How this is going to work is we have two sets of judges, 3 judges live here today, and then 3 who will watch the recording. So in that case, let's meet our judges. So Sophia, if you can go to the next slide, please. Awesome. So today we have 3 live judges with us. There's Sachin, Janine, and Apoor. Sachin has recently returned back from Stanford Graduate School of Business full-time to complete his MBA degree. He also holds a bachelor's degree from Harvard. Until very recently, he was a venture and growth investor at Y Combinator, and before that, an engagement manager at McKinsey. We're very lucky to have Janine joining us from the UK as well. She's a chartered accountant, MBA graduate, and an active angel investor. And then Apoor, who's joining from San Francisco too, is an investor at SoftBank and was previously an investor at Citadel. Due to time, we're going to quickly go through the rest of this so we can get started. Sophia, if we could go to the next slide, please. Awesome. And here are the 3 judges that will be recording their responses and deliberating along the way. So we have Jamie, who's the founder of Crimson Education, Jasmine, who's the managing director at PwC Australia, and Vikas, who is the portfolio manager at M&G Investments. Next slide, please, Sophia. Great. So without further ado, let's let in team 1. Victor, Isabel, and Isabel. It's a lot of Isabels. Awesome. Let's let them in. Hello, team 1. Are you guys all here? Great.
Hi, everyone.
We're very excited to have you today. So just as a reminder, you're going to have 10 minutes for your presentation, 7 minutes for a Q&A session after that. And keep your eye on the chat box because we will be giving you warnings on when you have 2.5 minutes left and 30 seconds left. So without further ado, I'll count you down and you can get started. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Victor, and today, together with Isabella, and Isabella, yes, 3 Isas, we'll talk about the proposal of how Sony should maximize its sales and influence on the game market. Before coming up with a strategy, we must first understand, next slide, please. I'm sorry. Before coming up with a strategy, we must first understand the company. Games, the most valuable segment in Sony, has dominated the console market. Even though consoles have a big influence, mobile games are rapidly growing and overtaking the control of the games. Having that in mind, we thought, how can Sony maintain its dominance with games in this new market? Well, our answer is revolutionize Sony, bringing a new era of PlayStations. Next slide, please.
Before applying this revolutionary product, first you have to test if Sony will be successful facing threats and would have several opportunities to come out in the best way possible. We realize that Sony is a global company well established in the market, but focus its games a lot in exclusive games in PlayStation, with limited offers to casual ones. Hence, it has the potential to invest in this undeveloped area and grow even more in this dominance. Next slide, please.
Keeping in mind Sony's potential, our idea is to change the current perspective of PlayStation. But how would we do this? Easy, by making PS a multifunctional platform. Integrating the cloud gaming, in which the development of the electronics is going to be by updates of the software, costing less and being more sustainable. How great is this? Firstly, for the gamers who enjoy playing online, it is going to be an awesome opportunity to connect with other users. It is already known that the future is about cloud gaming, but how much? Well, according to SNL Kagan, 124 million global users of cloud gaming are going to result in a revenue of $15 billion by 2024. Secondly, there will be the inclusion of Sony's music and pictures in this stream of entertainment. Instead of only being able to buy this project in the console, PS would not be known just for its games. Finally, having two types of stamps shown a great advantage since you can achieve different personas, those who are really into video games and the ones who mostly use the PlayStation to socialize and prefer casual games. Look how much this simple idea can offer to Sony's customers. It is really revolutionary. Next slide, please.
We already know that PlayStation exclusive games are incredible, so the company cannot stop investing in these crucial games. But it's not a reason for other potential areas not be explored, like PS Plus, sorry. In this idea, Sony could have some approach on the subscription, becoming more attractive for the customers. But how? By increasing the diversity of exclusive and online games. Besides that, the customers can access Sony music and pictures, having another font of entertainment. Fantastic, right? Something that the gamers are going to be really excited about is the internet storage to save game files and the loyalty with PlayStation that we will talk in the market strategy. At last, subscription can bring a backward compatibility trend, meaning that the successful games of other generations of PlayStation can be those games in the new PS5. By applying this strategy, Sony is definitely going to have the number of subscribers increased, just like the point in the graph. Next slide, please.
As PS5 will be monetized as a transition from today's PlayStation to the new one, now we have to see its revenue. To do so, first we set it PS5's penetration rate as 30%. But why this number? From the roughly 400 million PlayStation units sold till now, PlayStation has 113 million active users and 41 million PS Plus subscribers. That gives a percentage of constant buyers. Then we multiply this percentage by the products sold. We envision that 110 million PS5s will be sold in the first 5 years, bearing in mind that PS2, the biggest console sold in history, and PS4 also hit this number in their 5th year. Also analyzing PlayStation's patterns, we estimate 1.3 billion games sold and a dramatic increase in the subscriptions of PS Plus, as Isa just said. Well, after multiplying all these numbers by the average price of the products, we get to a 77 billion initial revenue. That's subtracting the manufacturing costs that we took from IHS, we have 67 billion of profit. Finally, we analyzed where games are most sold, and we found Asia, especially China, quite attractive. But you only know why in a few slides, so I'll keep it a mystery for now. Next slide, please.
So what we will actually do, we will end with our generations of consoles and provide a hardware that will be developed through updates, creating a software that holds games and services in just one place, becoming a software as services, or SaaS. In conjunction with this, we'll migrate from the physical device to the cloud, making all the games accessible to electronic devices that can access internet, such as PCs, television, using the 5G technology. But don't worry, the genuine gamers will also continue to be able to buy our specific accessories to enhance their player's experience, such as controllers, gaming headsets, and VR glasses. Besides all of that, we seek to integrate all of the electronic elements into Multimedia Center, making it easier for the consumer to search all the content in just one place. To do this integration, we'll pursue a partnership with Google by using their cloud services. With all of that, we'll create a more sustainable product for the future of Sony. Next slide, please.
Due to the political issue, it has necessary to establish a partnership with Alibaba Cloud. The strategic partnership with Alibaba Group is very close to the partnership mentioned by Victor previously. However, the biggest difference would be that the entertainment content would be produced by Alibaba Pictures Group. But why China is so important? Currently, China is the country that produces the most gaming revenue according to Newzoo. Revenue is valued at $40.854 million. Yes, it is a lot of money. Changing the topic of the slide, let us notice that Sony competitors are not just video games companies, but any service that steal entertainment hours. So we listed some of the potential competition. There is Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, and Steam. Even though they have a high technology and a consolidated public, Sony, in partnership with Google and Alibaba, will be the only company offering a multiply service within a single platform. Next slide, please.
As a groundbreaking product, nothing better than an amazing marketing to sell it. We decided to come up with fictional characters called personas. They would be our perfect client. The first one, called Lucas, is a hardcore gamer in PS for a long time. As he also watches YouTube gamers and go to game events, this would be our main communication with him. On the other hand, we know that casual games are growing a lot, so we came up with Julia. She's not that into video games, but she likes to play casual games with friends and family. As she likes social media, we will use our influencers to gain her attention. Also, there are more personas that can be created.
In addition, we have some marketing pillars to guide the action. One of them is sustainability, that with the end of generation of consoles, we'll have less trash. Another one is to have an entertainment for all the family. Finally, to maintain our customers, we'll have a loyalty plan, giving credits according to the user's years in PS5. So he'll get free games and better games, for example. Next slide, please.
We did a risk analysis and find out 4 possible risks that can impact our enterprise. The most likely to happen and riskier would be a low marketing adherence by possible replacement and the escape from customers who don't understand the changing brand position. To solve this problem, we will have to innovate the PlayStation's perspective. As for the other one, it would be ideal to have a huge investment on marketing to explain the new PS. Next slide, please.
Finally, we did a business plan, dividing it into 3 regions. In the next 5 years, we will invest in PS Plus and Collection in orange and gray areas. However, orange will have mainly online games, and the gray one will still have a lot of physical ones. Finally, China would have a different strategy to develop mobile games. Then, after 6 years, we would implement the PS software in the orange, then gray, and finally blue. Now, about the product itself, in the first 5 years, we would still have consoles and would start investing in our casual brand and the cloud system. Then, after this preparation period, we will launch the new PlayStation and enter the multi-platforms games, becoming our one-stop shop. In conclusion, this product will let us open a new market, since now Sony has a range of 800 million possible consumers that use consoles, but we were able to reach 2.7 billion that play in these 3 platforms. So, well, Sony can't lose the opportunity. Thank you so much for your attention. And do you have any questions?
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. So now we'll go to the Q&A section. So Apoor, Sachin, and Janine, do you guys have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I can start it off if you like.
Great.
That was a really good presentation, guys. I have watched the earlier ones, so I have some sort of comparisons that I can make with that. I thought your teamwork was really good, and also you were very positive and enthusiastic. So I know it's hard to present when English isn't your first language, so I'm always really impressed with the way you guys can do that. My question relates to your marketing pillar of sustainability. In the case, it also outlines the company's values. So I'm wondering how you can link further those company values to that sustainability element.
I can answer your question. I helped in the marketing strategy, and well, nowadays the whole world is very seeking for being environmental friendly, like in Australia fires, Amazon here in Brazil fires. So all companies, not only Sony, that values a lot of sustainability, are seeking for being environmental friendly. So it's not only going to be a Sony way to show her values, but also to as a marketing strategy. So like, we don't have to sell a lot of consoles, so you won't be able, you won't need to have like in your house 7 different PlayStations that gets trash. And if you go to the place of trash, going to be a lot of trash and dirt. So And this material also can be toxic in this garbage. So having only a software, we won't be having this trash, and it's going to be in all advertisements. So you won't be able to also go to the store, buy. It's going to be help also the consumers to don't lose time going, and if it breaks, you'll have to go to PlayStation Center and help it. So you can just call and talk to the person through all online platforms. So not only the console is going to be sustainable, but the whole industry. So you don't have to go with your car. So it's going to be all virtual to go to what Sony wants of being sustainable.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I agree with Janine. Phenomenal presentation. Very engaging. I like your business plan, and I guess I'm curious. It's a thoughtful business plan. What might you say? Let's say we execute this business plan 5 years from now. What would you say are the biggest risks to your plan? Why might be reasons that this plan might go slower than you anticipate?
Well, this is an awesome question. Thank you. I can answer that. The big risk, I think, is like we have Sony company already has a really good public and a lot of people who knows the products and really enjoy it. Like everybody who has the PS4 and who are waiting to PS5 that is going to release next month. So we are like kind of worried to this group that maybe don't like the idea, the new proposal of Sony that we are bringing here, but we thought about like changing the perspective of PS, not only about having you to in entertainment of gaming, but with this new platform, you will have access to music, to movies of Sony, and to many other platforms that we had with the partnership.
In addition, in that new PS is an integration of the multimedia, so you can go like from the Google Meet to have a meeting. Is a connection with the game and the service.
Yeah, thank you.
Great job, guys. I agree with what Janine and Apur said. Another follow-up to what Apur asked, are you concerned that Alibaba could build this or sell this themselves, given kind of investments that they've made in the gaming space?
That's a great question. We've thought about that. And yes, Alibaba and Google and other platforms can go to the cloud system, to what we're thinking about. And it's a tendency in our world to go to the cloud and go to this all online systems, but they don't have what Sony has. So we're very known nowadays for exclusive games, consoles. We already have this big public. It's one of the, it has the most sold console of all, PS2. So it's not going to be only console games. So console days, we kind of dominated. And going to this mobile and PC strategy with our SaaS, it's going to only amplify our business. So Alibaba may want to go, but they might go to mobile or PC or console that we already dominate. So they won't have this integration of all that we have of consoles, and we're getting more to get this whole market.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation, and we really appreciate your time. The winners will be announced on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So thank you again for your presentation, and we wish you the best of luck. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, team. Great job.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, Team 2. Welcome. Can you give me a thumbs up if all of your team members are here, please? All your team members?
Hello, yes.
Hi, okay, awesome. Well, just as a reminder, you will have 10 minutes to present. We will give you an alert at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then at 1 minute, or sorry, 30 seconds as well. That will be in the chat, so please keep your eyes on there. Then you'll have 7 minutes for Q&A. So on the count of 3, best of luck. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go for it.
Hello everyone, we hope everyone here is doing great. I'm João, I'm here with Johnny and Gustavo to present our business plan for Sony. Next slide, please. Our strategy is divided on 3 main phases. The first one focusing on the PlayStation 5 and the creation of PlayStation XP. The second one focusing on cloud gaming and especially on the mobile base. And the third one on edge computing, virtual reality, further cloud gaming, and the connection with other of Sony's branches. Next slide, please.
Thank you, João. The first thing we're going to talk about now is the PlayStation 5, Sony's newest console. The first item here is the exclusive contents that Sony historically brought to its consoles. And the second is the largely solid community Sony has been able to build around their previous products. And lastly, the highest customizability to ever exist in a console, both for physical and software development aspects. Now on the next slide, we developed the concept for the PlayStation XP. Next slide, please. Short for experience. It would be a system that connects all the services Sony offers for gaming in one single network across different platforms, like the PlayStation 5, PC, and mobile. Its base price would range around $15 monthly, contrasting with the PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, that the price of each is $10 monthly for the users. However, the idea is to let customers personalize their experiences, choosing games based under a subscription category they have chosen, much like freemium services. In addition to these already existing solutions, you would have the PlayStation Communities and the PlayStation Rewards. The PlayStation Communities would be a social media interconnected between platforms, console, PC, mobile, where the user could join and create different forms of discussions and groups within the gaming purpose. These would connect even more the already very tight PlayStation knit. The PlayStation Rewards would bring the already existing game trophies into a new concept of rewarding players who earn those trophies with story credits for games, subscriptions, and game discounts, and other content. It will raise the amount of time and money players spend gaming and also attract customers from other consoles and platforms. One of the most important concepts for the future of PlayStation is the PlayStation Now, the cloud gaming service of Sony. Today, it already offers around 800 games for a very specific range of users. However, its potential to bring new products and consumer segments and also increase the PlayStation community needs to be considered. With PlayStation XP, we would increase the numbers of players within direct contact with the cloud, preparing for the next gaming era. Now, on the next slide, please. Regarding the competitors for the PlayStation 5, firstly, we have Microsoft with its Xbox Series X. Although they have better processing power and a backwards compatibility history, they lack exclusive content, which is an increasingly important factor for gamers. Another closely associated console is the Nintendo Switch 2. However, their entire gaming style and experience is completely different from Sony's and Microsoft's purposes, so it does not represent a very direct competitor for Sony in this segment. And a probable risk for this phase would be a low community adoption for the PlayStation XP, which could be mitigated with a strong advertisement, further in-game bonuses, and a user-friendly platform. João.
Next slide, please. The second phase is marked by development of cloud processing, a theme that is deemed inevitable by major players on the market. Sony should surely invest in the area as its potential in the gaming industry is immeasurable. Moreover, due to the emerging 5G access, cloud gaming will have a huge boost due to the reduction of latency, a major concern in the area. So how to initially apply this to a wide range of customers? Mobile gaming. Mobile cloud gaming demands less from content delivery networks. And as can be seen from the graph, it is the market share with the highest revenue. Therefore, risks of implementation will be reduced. Another key factor is creating a mobile base for PlayStation XP. In these versions, players would pay a $5 monthly subscription, and as cloud computing and internet access improves, Sony would enable AAA titles to enter the platform. This would surely attract millions of players and create a democratization of video game access, as expensive hardware would no longer be needed. These aspects combined with Sony's exclusivity would develop a unique gaming experience. Next slide, please. So where to apply this technology and strategy? Initially, Sony would enable mobile PlayStation XP to Asian servers. It is by far the biggest market, with a predicted amount of 780 million mobile gamers by 2025, taking into consideration only China, India, and Japan. Moreover, these countries are already developing policies for fast and affordable internet technology. Another key factor in this phase is that Microsoft will no longer be a competitor, as the two companies have already built a partnership for cloud gaming development. The graph depicts a prospective revenue for this phase, which in the best case scenario for 2025 can go up to $18 billion and $28 billion in 2035. Next slide, please. It is important to assess probable competitors for phase 2. Firstly, Tencent, with its Star project, which can be boosted by the company's influence in the market and its operation of WeChat, permitting a greater connection with its customers. However, its cloud services are said to be Chinese focused, and the project itself is not clear, having its true application to lack clarity to most customer bases. Secondly, Apple Arcade. This initiative is already on the market and is a highly distributed cloud gaming service. However, it is exclusive to mobile users, having no connections to other platforms, and its lack of reputation in producing games, along with its indie-only approach, depicts that it does not englobe a wide range of customers. Finally, Google Stadia. In this cloud gaming base, customers will be able to access its content on any device that runs Chrome. And much like Tencent, Google operates YouTube, serving to as a means of connecting with its customer base. However, it did not demonstrate any product exclusivity, a very important factor in the game community. Therefore, Sony plays upon many weaknesses of its main competitors. Some risks that it can face is a lack of cloud knowledge and software development due to it being new technology, which can be mitigated by employing more data and computer scientists to ensure servers' efficiency, security, and stability. Another major one would be a reduced gaming experience of the mobile base because of the physical limitations of these platforms, as often swiping your fingers on a screen is not as enjoyable as a console playing, for example. This can be resolved by ensuring that PlayStation controllers can connect with the mobile base, enabling a similar experience to other platforms. Next slide, please.
Johnny, you're on mute. We can't hear you. It's still not working. Maybe unplug your headphones and try to plug them back in. We'll give you guys an extra minute here as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's better. That's better.
Sorry.
Dia, if you could just add an extra minute onto their presentation, we'll cut the judges' deliberation down a little.
Okay, so now onto the third phase of our recommended market strategy. This first step involves the expansion of cloud gaming throughout the world, mainly through advancements in internet connectivity. Furthermore, along with R&D investments discussed just now, and the expansion of the technology comes an improvement regarding the presence of data centers per given region. In other words, this means that more data centers will be built to account for the expected increase in the number of users in something known as edge computing. This would be done firstly by expanding into the regions that immediately follow Asia's lead in the number of potential customers, namely the North American and European markets. Then another source of profits is the integration of multiple industries and applications into cloud processing, also known as cloud computing. One of such process uses would be having virtual reality capability into cloud computing for various implementations, and also allowing the connectivity of other of Sony's services with the cloud. Another possibility even would be renting computing power to any service available. For example, training convolutional neural networks in the field of machine learning requires a lot of computing power. And so this is an area with great potential, since many people have the ideas and skills necessary to advance the areas, but lack the resources to do so. And so Sony Corporation comes to their aid by democratizing the access to such technologies. Next slide, please. So as briefly mentioned, VR as well as augmented reality are technologies that can be implemented in cloud computing and gaming. Even though current reports state that VR has an extremely low acceptance in the game market nowadays, new industry sectors are finding the most diverse uses for it, investing immense amounts of R&D into the technology. As such, its market is expected to grow with a CAGR of 32.75% from 2020 to 2025. For instance, one future application of such technology could be in running virtual interactive worlds in the cloud, through which users can interact with each other in a similar fashion to the movie Ready Player One, which again reiterates the concept of PlayStation XP community, helping generate sustainable social value for the company. Another interesting possibility would be multi-sensory digital interactiveness, which is a highly propitious market for Sony to invest in. Next slide, please. Finally, we have our financial projections. On the first graph that you can see on the top left of the slide, we have the estimated profit and revenue generated only from our strategy, without considering Sony's other types of income and expenses. However, since to estimate the expenses, we use data from previous years, the shape of the graph was highly similar to the total revenue and income, which is why the graph was not included here. But nevertheless, we've included the reported increase in net income from 2019 to 2025, which you can see on the bottom left of the slide. The graph on the top right shows the projected operating margin growth from 2024 to 2029, with the debut of cloud gaming in our second phase. Finally, the table on the bottom right shows some financial projections up to 2025, including compound revenue and net income, EBIT margin, profitability ratio, and the return on assets. That's it. Thank you all for watching our presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Wonderful job. Janine, would you like to start again if you have a question? We can just do the same rotation.
Okay. Thanks, guys. It was really good, really appealing presentation, and I really like the design of your slides, sort of in those crimson colours, which I quite like. I have a question for Gustavo. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. It's about your subscription category. So you mentioned a freemium model. Could you just explain to me more how that works, please?
Yes, the freemium model would work like you have like a kind of, you pay for a model that has like 10 games and you choose those games for you to play, and then a model that has like 20 games that you can play, it is more expensive and it has more resources. You will be available more content for you to play with.
So you're saying there's different levels. So it starts off at premium, which you don't pay, and then as you take more. Okay, thank you for that.
Or do you have any questions?
Thank you, team. It was a very, very impressive slide. I have to ask: is one of you ready to go into consulting soon?
Yeah, well, like, two of us are expecting to do business, and one of us expecting to do computer science. So yeah, consulting is indeed very connected with it.
Yes.
Oh, good. So you guys are going to do real jobs. That's good. Instead of
yes.
That's good. No, hey guys, phenomenal presentation. You're well on your way path to be successful entrepreneurs and scientists. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Sachin, anything from your end? Okay. In that case, thank you guys so much. And the winners will be announced on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So we wish you the best of luck.
Wanted to do it, you definitely could.
Sachin, we missed your first half of your question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Yes. I was just echoing what Apur said. As someone who's
Sachin, we lost you again. We got you at echoing what Apur said.
I actually did not have any follow-up questions. I thought everything was quite clear, so I'm all set.
Awesome.
We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day, team.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, Team 3. How are you doing?
Good. How about you?
Doing well. Hello.
Hi. Can you give me a thumbs up if your entire team is here, please?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So just as a reminder, you're going to have 10 minutes to present, and I'll give you an alert both at 2 minutes and 30 seconds and at 30 seconds. That will be down in the chat, so please check that. From there, you will have 7 minutes of Q&A with the judges. So once you're ready, I will count you down and we'll get started. So 3, 2, 1, best of luck.
Hi everyone, I'm Raghav.
I'm Sid.
I'm Harsha.
And I'm Ahad.
And we are the Wolves of Wall Street. In this presentation, we'll take you through how we can help Sony in creating connections in the gaming industry. Connections with customers, connections with game developers, and connections with non-gamers, integrating them into the PS family. We aim to make Sony the pioneer in creating connections in the gaming industry. Next slide, please. So Sony's Games and Network Services division, what is it? Its current situation is that its mission is to create and deliver emotion by offering good games and low prices. And it's also gearing up for the PS5 launch in November 2020. The main issue is why we're here. It's that gaming is seen as a connection breaker, isolating people instead of connecting them. Sony is also facing an extremely competitive industry, with entrants such as Microsoft, Nintendo, and even Google entering the mix. Console hardware is also becoming increasingly obsolete in the long term, having lost 18% of market share since 2012. From each of these issues, we formed three main questions. And to answer those three main questions, we've come up with three key recommendations. The first, developing a mobile application through a social network to connect customers. Then, exclusively dealing with game developers through the PS Think Tank initiative. And finally, transitioning hardware gaming to cloud-based systems through the PSU subscription. And as you can see from the figures at the bottom, these recommendations will have an astronomical impact on Sony. Next, please.
Now, let's break these issues down a bit further. In terms of connectivity, gamers are stereotyped as teenage boys who sit around in the dark room playing games all day long, which inhibits communication between gamers and other groups of society. For this, we're expected to have an easy-to-use connectivity app and an intuitive online gaming platform, while in reality, we have a clunky app and an unsynergetic use of the app and the online platform. Sony also faces an extremely competitive market, as you can see on the map, and we seek to differentiate PS through its product quality. While Xbox is less affordable, it competes with us on the basis of its exclusive game library. And in terms of the competition we face from others, we face them on portability from the Nintendo Switch and their cloud gaming service from Google Stadia. Sony also faces a long-term risk of consoles becoming obsolete. As you can see in the dark blue section of the chart, the market share that consoles have in the global gaming market has been decreasing steadily. This is because mobile gaming is more affordable. It's not limited to its location, while the opposite is true for consoles. It's really hard to carry a 5 kg box around with you everywhere you go. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. That's 2 slides ahead.
Sorry.
Right. Now, keeping these issues in mind, we've exhausted all possible suggestions. First of all, we outruled synergizing Sony services, mergers and acquisitions, and major rebranding. This is because of the major problems associated with the same. We outruled Chinese expansion because of its hostile foreign app policy and its harsh censorship and restrictions, and we ruled out AR and VR due to its large initial investment. Instead, we shortlisted 3 key solutions, which we'll talk about in the slides following. Next slide, please. Our first solution is updating the PS app. Why do you want to do this? Well, in the primary research that we conducted with over 221 respondents, we found that 73% of them are unsatisfied with the current connectivity of the PS platform. We seek to solve this with a really nice PS app, and we seek to make this a social network between gamers. As you can see on the mock-up on your screen, we have friends, whether they're online or not, at the top. Below that, we have PS party options, and below that, we have ads, which are the main revenue stream for this app. We also have friends and messages and streaks at the bottom of this mockup, which incentivizes use. We also need to prioritize the development of this app for the first month, as that lines up with the launch of the PS5 in November 2020. From this, we can predict a 5.14% increase in PS5 sales, 44.8 million people connected by the end of 2021, and over $500 million in USD in revenue by the same time period. Next slide, please.
Now, connecting the consumers is only one piece of the puzzle. The other is connecting developers to help us navigate this extremely competitive industry. Through the PlayStation Think Tank, we want to create a socially sustainable environment for developers. Now, let's walk through the hypothetical developer journey of Think Fast Games, a small developer who wants to get on our platform. First, they go to the selection stage where their ideas are vetted. Second, we provide financing and tools along with exclusivity contracts to ensure they stay with PS. Third, we supervise their game development journey. And fourth, their exclusive game releases on the platform. What this does is it hedges the risk for developers along with providing end-to-end support in game development. Now, how do we know this works? A Finnish government think tank for developers works on a similar premise and has led to the development of multiple $1 million games such as Angry Birds and Clash of Clans. The impacts from this will be 19 titles per year, 19 additional titles per year by 2023, $20 million in profit per title, and a total profit of $380 million. Next slide, please. Steve Jobs once said, we have just one more thing, and cloud gaming is just that. Through our key strategy of connecting mobile gamers to high quality games, we aim to solve Sony's hardware obsolescence issue. We will do this by bundling our PS Now cloud gaming service with our PS Plus game delivery service to form a PSU. We will target social casual gaming hubs as seen in the strategy map on the bottom left. The implementation of PSU in a mobile format is seen in the mock-up in the middle. And our key impacts from this will be 4.5 million users by the end of 2021, $100 in revenue per user, and a total revenue of $450 million. Next slide, please. Now it's time for our version of the SWOT analysis, the SWOTer. Our key strengths are that we build a meaningful connection through gaming. Our key weakness is a necessity to regularly update software. Our key opportunity is the potential for an innovative, successful, and creative game developer community. Our key threat is that competitors can copy us. Now, the central thing that ties all these together is risk mitigation. We've done this by ensuring sufficient R&D allocation for the speed to market plan. This ensures that competitors cannot copy us. And we want to build a loyal developer and consumer base. And this will help get customers from the competition. Next slide, please.
Now that we've detailed our solutions and mitigated their risks, let's take a look at each of their roadmaps for transformation. We've segregated our timeline into two main sections, short-term and long-term. In the next 3 years, we want to invest in cloud research and development, launch the PS5 and mobile application, as well as our cloud service, the PSU. We also want to hire a development team and start creating the PS exclusive games. In the long term, we want to reevaluate our cloud program, phase out hardware and continue software updates for these applications, and continue creating PS games for our consumers to enjoy. The KPIs that will determine their success are promising revenue and ROI, 60% reduction in latency, and 19 game titles per year. To effectively market and position our solutions, we have used the 7 main P's of marketing, but focusing on the main ones: place, initial expansion strategy into global markets; people, a think tank for game developers, thereby encouraging social sustainability; and physical evidence, which are our plans to phase our hardware consoles in the long term. Next slide, please. Now, taking that into consideration, I know what you all are thinking. Show me the money. Well, in terms of our revenue, we project that our solutions can bring Sony just around $2.4 billion in revenue and under $500 million in costs by 2023. From this, we can calculate our gross profit to be just under $2 billion in 2023. To elaborate on this, our costs include mobile application development, game development funding, and data center leasing. But we can quickly turn this into revenue through application ads, sale of exclusive PS games, and an increase in the number of PS users due to cloud gaming. Moving on to our net present value, with a perpetuity growth rate of 5% and forecasting future cash flows by 7 years parallel to the cash flows after Sony launched its PS4, we project a terminal value of just over $350 billion. Next slide, please.
So in conclusion, we've addressed each of our 3 key issues in turn. We've connected with pre-existing customers to the PS mobile app. We've connected with customers of competitors, as well as game developers through the PS think tank. We've connected with non-gamers through the PSU subscription on mobile. But most importantly, we've connected the Sony of the present with the Sony of the future. Thank you. And now we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll start backwards this time. So Janine, I saw you turn your mic off, but I'm going to switch it up here. So Sachin, if you have any questions.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks. Awesome job, guys. Really thoughtful and thorough presentation with excellent communication kind of across the whole team. So big kudos on that. Not an easy thing to do at all. Would love if you could speak a little bit more about some of the risks. Maybe pick the one that you consider the largest risk to the current plan and speak a little bit more about that.
Yep. Thank you for your question. So we feel that the major risk that we have is the ability for competitors to copy us. But we feel that we can mitigate this risk by first establishing the loyal customer base that we're trying to do through all of our solutions. We feel that even if in the future Xbox does the same investment we do, once we have that loyal developer base and that customer base that is known to be with our products and can help develop them easier, we feel that they won't leave us because of all the profit motivations and cost motivations involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Apoor, would you like to go next? Apoor, you are on mute.
Okay, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, that's better.
Phenomenal presentation, guys. It was a very, very, what they call a meaty presentation. I like that you covered a lot of different grounds, and perhaps I think your slide number 3 was my favorite slide. I'm curious, just on slide 3, if you can go back to that one, as you exhausted all possible recommendations. Of the three that you present, and you were to invest in any of those 3, which, if you were to pick one, which one would you invest in? Which one would you pick, and why would you not pick the other 2?
Right. Thank you, sir, for your question. That's actually a good question, because all 3 solutions are not only dependent on each other, but also have equal merit. But if we have to look just at the numbers, I see the cloud gaming, as we can see in the financials. The cloud gaming has a bit more percentage of the total profit gained, but a more holistic answer would be that all 3 are vital and will truly help Sony become the giant in the industry.
Gotcha, thank you.
Great. And Janine, last but not least.
Hi guys, I really enjoyed the way you framed sort of connection, the people's side of gaming, instead of sort of that teenage boy impression that we all have. I just wondered whether you could explain a little bit more how you link that connectivity to one of the key considerations of the case, which is to generate sustainable social value.
Thank you for your question. So we've tried to generate sustainable social value through 2 main means. Firstly, the connectivity of reducing the social stigma around gaming. And we aim to do this by getting a more positive connotation towards gaming. And secondly, through our exclusive game developer program, which gives opportunities to small developers, which is really beneficial to them. And finally, we also want to tackle the actual issue of sustainability that is harming our earth, which is e-waste. And by shifting to the cloud, we'll be saving a lot, we'll be reducing a lot of our waste, and this tackles all 3 of these issues.
And if I may just elaborate on that, we also seek to create a more sustainable work culture. I'm sure you must have heard, Ms. Manning, that there's a lot of news going around about workers suing their company because of the crunch time. We seek to eliminate this entirely and create a workforce of more socially sustainable people and a more socially sustainable work culture. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We do have time for a few more questions. If any of you guys have any follow-ups that you would like to ask, feel free to just unmute yourself and go for it.
Thank you. If there are no questions, could we possibly go through the appendices to show all of the
judges
how do you
about that?
Yeah, that's fine. I could maybe ask if you thought about the education market at all.
That's something I believe Ms. Manning will have to further research, but just for this, we did not consider the education market because Sony primarily focuses on gaming, and kind of the social stigma around gaming does prevent it from entering the education market. But we'll, for sure, we'll do further research on the education market for gaming as well.
Thank you, Janine. Sure, if the judges are all okay with it, we'll let you go through the appendix for 2 minutes.
Yep, you could just flip through the pages.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about any of this, or you just would like them to see?
No, it's fine if you could just flip through it.
Okay.
Just a
would
more
like us to
detailed breakdown.
clarify. Yeah, if the judges would like us to clarify anything, we'll be more than happy to do so.
go back one.
I'm thinking there's not much sort of gross profit margin there, is there, as a percentage?
Right. Actually, this is the Miss Manning. This is the Bloomberg suggested that the price that the PS5 would sell at was $499, and the cost of production given by the case was $450. And it's quite understandable because PlayStation doesn't focus on price competition; it focuses on the product quality. So in that case, yeah, the gross profit margin is quite limited, quite low.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time. The results will be released on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So wishing you all the best. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Hello, Team 4. Can you please give me a thumbs up to let me know if all of your team members are here? You guys see all your team members? Great. So just as a reminder, you will have 10 minutes to present. We will give you a 2-minute and 30-second warning mark in the chat, as well as a 30-second warning. So please monitor that. Then you'll have 7 minutes for Q&A with the judges. I will count you in, and then you can get started. All right, 3, 2, 1. Best of luck.
We have drafted a strategic business plan for Sony to guide them on the release of the PS5, making large profits while sustaining social value and growing in the next 50 to 100 years. Next slide.
Initial insight: COVID-19 accelerated global video gaming market to $170 billion. According to World Economic Forum forecast, the global video game market is predicted to be worth $159 billion in 2025. As well as the global virtual reality market size was $3.1 billion in 2019 and is projected to reach $58 billion by 2027, which is a huge increase. Next slide.
Now we're going to look at key issues associated with the PS5. The first issue is the Xbox Series X and S. The release of the new console, Xbox Series S, is a more economical version of the Xbox Series X with similar features. It's priced at $299, and this console poses a significant threat to Sony from a business perspective, as it stands as one of the moves facilitated by competition. In order to regain supremacy in the market, Sony has to come up with something better than what is expected. The second issue is the pre-order issue. The situation was messy with the pre-orders for the PlayStation 5, yet both Xbox and Sony couldn't seem to solve the simple task of giving consumers an easy way to exchange their money for the product. This leads many to believe that Sony has underlying supply chain issues, and now that pre-order season is over, Sony really needs to focus on communication through social media of when the PS5 will be released and in which retail stores it can be found in. The third issue is the supply chain issue. Bloomberg assumes that the Sony Corporation has cut its estimated PlayStation 5 production for this fiscal year by 4 million units, down to around 11 million. If this is the case for Sony, they should initially increase prices so that there is a contraction in demand, and once they are able to get back on their feet and mass produce, they can reduce prices to the original price that they were intending on selling it at. Next slide. Porter's 5 forces. Here we looked at determining the competitive intensity of the gaming industry. We found that the threat of new entrants was medium because barriers to entry are high, power of suppliers is low, existing rivalry is high, threat of substitutes is high, and power of buyers is high. We don't have enough time due to time constraints, so you can come back to this in the Q&A if you have any questions. Next slide.
We conducted a thorough competitor analysis and looked at the two biggest competitors of PlayStation 4, which include Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. While PlayStation 4 holds the biggest market share without any really close competitors, there is a massive difference in prices of about $100 each different between the goods. While you may think they are quite similar, below you can see the product descriptions that show where they differ. Next slide.
These are some important statistics that we are going to be referring to in our next slides. Next slide. Recommendation 1. How can Sony best monetize the PS5 over the next 5 to 10 years? So first we look at how the business plan will vary by geographical region. We think that from the last statistics, we can see in the graph that there are 1 billion gamers in Asia Pacific. So we believe that we should start off by releasing the PS5 in China, as cost of shipping and distribution costs will be lower if they ship to China first, as their production facilities are in China. Then we follow up with North America. Releasing the product in North America means that we will get all North American YouTube reviewers to review the product and promote it, and then full implementation and release worldwide. We want to charge higher prices for complementary goods in UAE and Australia because these places are associated with having more disposable income, which they can afford to spend on complementary goods, and therefore increases profit. Next, we want to prioritize console sales. We recommend this because you need to sell consoles to sell additional products and services. These products and services, for example, PlayStation Plus, are price inelastic. And Sony can use this to their advantage and take a sales maximization approach, as once you buy a PS4, you essentially have to buy a membership.
Another recommendation we have is the introduction of marketing through celebrities and teenage icons. As teenagers are our main and most successful market, we chose big celebrities that could endorse our products. Celebrities such as Charli D'Amelio, a TikTok star who boasts over 90 million followers and has an engagement of 6.1% on every one of her posts. We think she would pressure and convince other teenage girls to follow in her footsteps, and we aim to increase the girls' gaming by 25%. Kylie Jenner is a prime example of how this is efficient. While she is a big celebrity icon, her creation of Kylie Cosmetics led to a $900 million company of selling cosmetic goods through her brand. Next slide. Here we see our recommendation for growth for the next 50 to 100 years. The world is going towards an aging population, especially in Japan where the company is based. People aged 65 and above only make up 6% of the gaming population. The market has little competition, with no other companies aiming to compete in this market. Loneliness is a massive problem for elderlies plus 65 years old, with over 13.8 million Americans plus 65 years old living alone. Our video games are the perfect solution for this, as multiplayer games are already created, such as Trivial Pursuit, and through the integration of VR, we could decrease loneliness and improve mental health, as elderly are able to communicate and act like they would in a real environment. However, due to COVID, we know this is not possible and safe, so it solves this problem. Next, we have the reduction of monthly membership costs. We offer a price of $4.99 each month for returning customers to allow to keep a strong brand loyalty base. And it's a privilege to them, which makes them feel benefited and included. We also suggest deals with brands of interest, such as Spotify. AT&T recently made a deal with Spotify that allowed when customers bought higher data packages, they received free membership to Spotify. This will incentivize our consumers to do the same and promotes more expensive goods being purchased, as well as making the consumer feel more benefited. This would not be a big challenge, as Spotify and Sony already have deals.
Sony can also leverage synergies with their other business segments, like film. So we thought that they should create their own brand of superheroes. This way they don't have to pay for royalties and copyrights. A new breed of superheroes that attract the new generation. Younger characters like Marvel is doing with Spider-Man. They should release a prototype model to see if this concept can actually gain traction, and then they can start merchandising for characters that come, which can take a whole life of its own. Next slide.
From our perspective, it's simple. Sony have two main social responsibilities: the protection of intangible heritage and the protection of the environment. Our first suggestion is to create an integrated environment, a Sony ecosystem that will provide live digital events only for PlayStation users all around the world through VR, in an aim to preserve our intangible heritage. What COVID-19 highlighted was that we're entering a new generation of ideas, and we all know that now. This suggestion reflects the core values of Sony, which are dreams and curiosity, diversity, integrity and sincerity, and sustainability. Now, imagine if cities were more like your local friends. introducing themselves to you without the need for you to go hunting for traces of their identity. Now, this can all be done through VR, an immersive experience that allows you to learn about the city's heritage, from interactive museums to small, intimate concerts with Lady Gaga, recreating sensation of actually being there, all in the comfort of your own home. It's a new perception of tourism, adapted to any generation. Now, our second suggestion is simple: environmental impact of plastic wrapping. Now, I won't elaborate on this too much, but according to Sony's sustainable report, in April 2010, Sony announced the Road to Zero, basically a plan where they want to have a zero environmental footprint through the life cycle of its product and business activities by 2050. Now, as you can imagine, this is a very bold statement. They started promoting complete digital movement through the new PS5 digital edition, which is the first time. And this is a huge leap that will reduce logistics and costs. Next slide. Now, financial analysis. We calculated percentage interval change in revenue from 1999 all the way to 2019. We then used these numbers to predict growth from 2020 to 2025. From these numbers, we predicted a best case, a safe case, and a worst case scenario for Sony's annual revenue. Our revenue for our best case scenario by the end of 2025 is 12 billion Japanese yen, presenting a 3 billion Japanese yen increase from 2020. Due to time constraints, I won't be able to talk about this in much depth, but you guys can mention it in the Q&A section. Next slide. Now, our implementation timeline. In 2020 to 2021, we predict a rapid increase due to the release of the PS5 as the previous year showed. In 2022, we predict that like previous years, there'll be a decrease in revenue due to lower demand. However, only slight decrease due to celebrity endorsement and release of unique Sony superhero prototype. It will take time to change the image of changing the gaming being a male-dominated sport, and hence only start seeing change in revenue by the end of 2021 to 2022. Adding to this, in 2022 to 2023, we'll see a sustained growth due to the development of Sony's ecosystem and digital VR.
Thank you guys so much. The time is up. Great. Well, let's start this time again with Sachin on the questions.
Yeah, great job, team. I think all of the judges would agree that it's really impressive how thoughtful and thorough you guys are at such a young age. So well done. My question is, would love to hear more. I think Theo was cut off a little bit because of time on one point that you wanted to make 2 slides prior. We'd love to just hear more about that one.
The financial, correct?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So it's simple. We created with the intervals from 1999 to 2020. We calculated the gap interval increase in revenue, and then from this we used these numbers to make a best case scenario, a worst case scenario, and a safe case scenario. So in the graph, if you go to the financial analysis, the next slide, please. In the financial analysis here, you can see that our best case scenario will be generating by 2025 12 billion Japanese yen, which is a huge increase to what Sony's previously had in the previous years.
Got it.
Shall I go next?
Yeah, thanks, Janine.
Yeah. I think you guys really addressed the brief, and I could see in your slides that you followed those 3 aspects of the brief, and I think that was an excellent way to frame your whole presentation. I really enjoyed the consideration of the young female market, particularly because I'm not a gamer myself, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about that, because it seems to me that it would be an easy target for some quite sensational growth.
So for us in the modern world, it's really important how ads have not changed from billboards. They're more on people you see, and a lot of young girls at the moment respect these, let's call them celebrities, and they would want to follow in their footsteps. Girls from even 11, everyone wants to be like them. They're great role models. So through the use of them promoting our goods, there's a lot of trust in it. And obviously we know the product is good, but they don't know. So obviously it's following the timeline. And it's just, I think it's a really modern way of doing it. The rates of interest with it is massive. And Charlie D'Amelio, who we focused on for our case study, she she gets around 27 million views on every one of her posts, with costs of, she charges around 30 to 40,000 US dollars per post. So yeah, so this is a great way of doing it. And Alina, have you got anything else to say about how this is a new way?
So basically what our take was that with Kylie Jenner, as Tia mentioned, with her lip kits, she promoted that so well that it got sold out, and everyone looked up to her. Everyone looked up to that sort of like female beauty, I guess. So I guess we could create gaming as a new beauty and break that stereotype, you know? So I feel like a lot of girls nowadays are very like looking up to these icons. Charli D'Amelio is a new icon. She's just come in through TikTok. So she will target a much like a newer generation of gamers that, and we think that this is probably the best way to do this. And so we also had a ratio of, for every 11 male gamers, there's 3 female gamers. And we were thinking with celebrity endorsement, we calculated it and we found that with celebrity endorsement, it would be for every 11 male gamers, there would be 7 female gamers.
Incredible job, guys. I wanted to dig in deeper on one of your recommendations, I think a couple slides prior, where you recommended creating celebrities. And, you know, digging deeper into that question, if you were to, let's say Sony hired the 3 of you as the team to go make that happen, what would you do? Like, how would you create celebrities? What do you think is the path to creating celebrities?
Sorry, did you mean superheroes? The
Superheroes, superheroes,
yeah.
right.
So Sony already has animation and it has ties with Marvel. It has rights to Marvel's Spider-Man, which is also an exclusive game. So we think that they could start working closely with Marvel to start developing these superheroes, but then make it their own. So if they get ideas, maybe if they work together on ideas with Marvel, and maybe their superheroes could be featured in Spider-Man as well. So they could, because they have the rights to Spider-Man, it could be pretty easy for them to work with Marvel and then start their own.
Just to elaborate on that, if you've ever seen, I don't know how well you guys are to the trends, but there was this trend of the Fortnite dance. So the Fortnite dance was based off a character who did this dance for the game Fortnite. And this created so much awareness. I personally did not play Fortnite at the time, and I knew the dance and I knew the character. And I think that's really important because just the creation of a character led to everyone I know knows this dance. It's so everyone knows it, everyone is speaking about it, and I think that's a core element of getting the word spread. And even though I might not necessarily get Fortnite, it's just the awareness and everyone knowing what's going on, which is important for a company.
Super. Super. Thank you, team. Very good job.
Awesome. Great. Thank you guys so much. The winners will be announced on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So until then, best of luck and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, Team 5. Can you please give me a thumbs up if your entire team is here, if you can see everybody?
I think we're still missing Alan.
Yeah, I think Alan's still connecting.
Okay. We'll wait. Hi, Alan. Can you hear us okay? All right, awesome. Just as a reminder, Team 5, you will have 10 minutes to present, and we will give you a warning at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, as well as a 30-second warning down in the chat. So please make sure to monitor that. Then you'll have 7 minutes for Q&A. So I'm going to count you in, and then you can get started. 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Good morning, judges, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. We are the Ridge Consulting Group. My name is Cindy, your market specialist, and these are my teammates Alan and Parsa, the business and finance specialists. This is our business plan for Sony's game and network services, which
which is launching the newest console, the PlayStation 5, on November 12th, 2 days after the Xbox Series X launch. Our mission is to ensure PS5 profitability and long-term sustainability in the next 50 years to reach our vision of a console and mobile market dominated by PlayStation. Our action features a three-pronged strategy, including game exclusivity, mobile conversion, and branding. But first, let's break down our issues. Next slide.
We broke down Sony's problem into 5 distinct issues. To start with, the upcoming Xboxes are sold at a much cheaper price point and could appear more attractive to families and teenagers as a result, which leaves Sony at a price disadvantage. The second issue is that when you compare Sony with their top competitor in respect to gaming, Microsoft, Microsoft has much more capital to work with in regards to what strategies they want to implement. These two issues combine together and can be grouped as the larger issue of cutthroat competition. Moving on, over the past couple of years, much of the gaming industry's growth has been focused on mobile because of accessibility and ease of play. As a result of that trend, not too many new users have been added to the console market, which has led to a console market that has been growing far too slowly for Sony's ambitions. Finally, there are high barriers to entry within Sony's ecosystem because users have to make a large investment in order to play, and those users within the ecosystem have a hard time connecting outside of when they're directly using the console, which is how these issues are connected into causing a weakness in social connectivity. And when you combine all these 3 issues, it will lead to a potentially unsuccessful PS5 launch, which should be avoided at all costs because the PS5 will determine the future success of the PlayStation brand as a whole. Next slide, please.
We conducted an internal analysis of PlayStation's ecosystem, including 5 sectors. In the center is the PS console sector, and in the past 15 years, PS2 is the best-selling console of all time. PS3 continued its dominance, while PS4 is our biggest hit, easy to play with, and has the best exclusive games. Therefore, by examining the past, we believe that exclusive contents are the key to our console domination. On the top left, there is our largest sector, the PS Store. On the top right and bottom left, we have PS Now and PS Plus, together earning a revenue of $3.55 billion in 2020. And on the bottom right is PlayStation's smaller but promising sector, PSVR, the future of all games. All these sectors are interconnected, with the PS console hardware being in the heart of the ecosystem. Next slide.
On the left is a competitor analysis. Xbox is our only competitor because Nintendo has avoided competition with us through a different launch time and age group. We have 4 criteria for comparison: developer base, third-party exclusives, amount of capital, and console features. Currently, Xbox is in a slightly better position to launch their Series X than PlayStation is due to Microsoft's recent Bethesda acquisition and amount of funding available. On the right is an industry analysis. Currently, the mobile market grows twice as fast as the console market. This high barrier industry relies heavily on complements and ecosystems in the PlayStation Now. New tech developments include cloud-based gaming, augmented reality, and virtual reality. In the current recession, video game subscription increased by 11%, but buying power decreased by 1/3, which means our price point needs strong justification. Next slide.
So we looked at a couple of different solutions to try to fix Sony's problem. And in the end, we decided on the first 3 solutions because we believe they generate substantial, sustainable profit. To start with, game exclusivity and exclusive format are a strong suit for Sony because they have a strong competitive advantage in game development since their subsidiary studios, although there are fewer of them, tend to make better games. This can be proven when you look at the top-selling PlayStation exclusive, which sold 16 million units, as compared to the top-selling Xbox exclusive, which only sold 5 million units. Secondly, rebranding to an exclusive brand will be helpful to Sony because it moves them out of direct competition with Xbox, which will sidestep the issue of high prices and limited capital. This is also easy to do because the PlayStation 5 is already very sleek and that can be used in the marketing material as well. Thirdly, moving PlayStation Now to mobile is extremely important because there's a huge untapped market of mobile gamers that will be able to convert to PlayStation gamers as a result of this strategy. The fourth and fifth strategy were strategies we eventually dismissed because social features will take time to educate and excite users about, as well as the fact that there is no direct path to profitability for that solution. Lastly, price reduction is absolutely not possible because it will force the company to sell the product at a loss because even right now, it's being sold at the absolute lowest price possible. And so that is something we want to avoid because the company wants to, of course, make profit. Next slide, please.
For the first strategy, we are going to invest heavily in developing exclusive games, PS console games, and VR games. Based on the lessons learned from the past, content is the one most important factor in the competition against Xbox. Take one exclusive game, for example, the Marvel Spider-Man, sold over 9 million units in 2018 alone. In the same year, Sony sold 96.1 million PS4 consoles, indicating a positive relationship between the exclusive game and the PS console sales. The rule applies to PlayStation's VR sector as well. But for VR's long-term plan, we are focused on improving headset technology to reduce VR price level, as well as potential VR integration with our next generation console as a new product line. Next slide.
The second part of our strategy is built around getting PlayStation Now to mobile, which is a game streaming service which allows users to pay subscription to play hundreds of games through the internet, basically like Netflix for gaming. Right now, it currently exists only on PC and PlayStation, but moving it to mobile is especially lucrative because the biggest gaming platform is mobile, especially in regions like China, where it is practically the only platform. To add to that, most mobile games that currently exist are cheap and low quality, whereas PlayStation Now games are some of the best-selling games of all time, as well as highly in-demand PlayStation exclusives, something we outlined the advantage of earlier. The massive draw here, outside of just the games itself, is the affordable price at only $10 a month and the accessibility of not needing to buy into the hardware, at least for the beginning. This strategy will also boost PlayStation 5 sales because it will remove the stigma around gaming. More people will try games and they'll actually see how fun it is, and they'll be more likely to try the consoles as a result as well, to get access to the extra features and more games that the PlayStation 5 has access to. Next slide, please.
The final part of our three-pronged strategy is our branding cycle. Stage 1 is creating the identity of the PS5 as a luxurious yet affordable product to justify our price of $499 compared to Xbox's $399. Stage 2 is partnering with major gaming influencers on YouTube and other platforms to exhibit themselves playing the PS5. This shows that our console is recognized by some of the top amateur gamers out there, boosting PS5 popularity. Stage 3 emphasizes PlayStation's design, which has sleeker curves and colors compared to the black, chunky Xbox Series X, contributing to the flex factor. Stage 4 is our final goal, to build an Apple versus Android concept between PlayStation and Xbox, implying that although the other is cheaper, PlayStation is the real OG in the console market. This is the ultimate brand differentiation for PlayStation. Next slide.
We anticipate that sales for the PS5 will remain at their current projected levels for 2021, as our strategy won't play into effect until later on. And we actually expect operating margins to decrease for 2021 because of the significant investments we're making. We expect to see the payoff from our strategy from about 2022, when the luxury marketing effect starts taking effect, new exclusive titles release and boost sales of the PS5, and PS Now sales ramp up as it becomes fully integrated with mobile. Furthermore, increases in PS Now sales will drive operating margins up significantly as we rely less on the low margin business of console sales, as console margins are about 10%. Farther into the future, investments in VR R&D will be able to fund the next generation of PS hardware in order to ensure sustainable profitability for the next 10 to 15 years as Sony moves on. Next slide, please.
In the short-term plan, we will invest $200 million in exclusive content every year starting in 2020 to ensure PlayStation's future popularity. The only drawback is that our investment can go up in smokes if games turn out to be dull and boring. To mitigate this, we will implement market research to understand consumers' wants and needs beforehand. With our midterm plan, we will be developing mobile conversion technology in 2021, we are deploying it in 2022. We believe that this plan will attract many phone users while introducing them to our PS ecosystems, especially in China, India. One risk is that this strategy may not be as trendy and as popular right after the release. We will mitigate this by doing comprehensive marketing and retail demonstrations. For our long-term plan, we are going to advance in PSVR console integration. We believe this process will take a long time because the current integration technology is not mature yet. This plan can be risky as other tech giants are also investing in their VRs. We will mitigate this by investing in VR games and headsets ahead of time and constantly take the lead in the race. And that's the end of our presentation. We are the Rich Consultant Group, and thank you for listening.
Thank you guys so much for a wonderful presentation. Apoor, we'll start with you on the Q&A.
Hey folks, phenomenal job. Good job covering a variety of different issues that are involved. And I like your recommendation number one, which is where I want to dig deeper, which is game exclusivity. what are the trade-offs? What are the pros and cons of having exclusivity in gaming, and what might you expect? If there are real-world examples of companies that might have done it, feel free to use them. But curious what you think are the trade-offs of exclusivity, because theoretically everyone would want it.
Yeah, sure. So exclusive games can sometimes appear as anti-consumer behavior occasionally because people, of course, want to be able to play on any platform. But I think the important thing to recognize is that these are games that will be developed by Sony subsidiary studios. So these will be games developed by Sony themselves. And so they'll be better optimized for PlayStation hardware, especially since they're PlayStation exclusives. And so as a result of that, that will result in higher, into like higher quality games. And so the trade-off we're kind of making is that it might appear as kind of anti-consumer behavior, but this is something that's a common trend in gaming. This is something that's a common practice in gaming. And so we think it shouldn't be too much of an issue because it's the norm right now.
Adding on to Parsa's point, since Xbox and the PS5, the latest their products have similar price, similar functions and properties. I mean, the exclusive game is our like shining point, and we need to stand out against the competition against Xbox. And exclusive game is our like best strategy.
Thank you.
Great.
I have a question from the perspective of somebody who's not a gamer and doesn't know too much about it. But you mentioned in one of the slides about removing the stigma around gaming. Can you please explain to me what that stigma is?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a common trend that, especially in non-gamer world, that gamers are people who don't have a life, who just spend so much time playing on video games that they don't really invest into themselves. But we think that is due to, because there's such a high barrier to entry in this market. Like for example, when you play video games on the PC and on the console, you have to invest in the hardware first, which is like anywhere between $200 to $500. And we think that this is basically the barrier towards why the console market isn't growing as much. And as such, by moving to mobile in the long term, we're making it easier to access for non-gamers to get into this field, to try it out, and maybe see that what they thought wasn't actually what it was before. So our long-term plan with mobile, we're trying to reduce the stigma, which could potentially increase our client base for both mobile and for consoles.
To kind of just add to that a little bit.
It's a great explanation for someone that doesn't know much about it.
Would you like to add to that?
Oh, so sorry, I thought we were moving on. Yeah, it's just kind of like add to that a little bit. We think that like a good example of this is like when you look at anything, it can be very scary for people are just generally scared of what they don't understand. And moving it to mobile, which is something that everyone has access to, will allow people to actually understand what gaming is, to get involved in it. And as a result, this will like reduce the stigma to that extent a little bit.
On Parsa's point, with our mobile conversion, we are not only connect people together, but also creating social value at the same time.
Great. Thank you guys so much. Sachin, any questions on your end?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Repeat what everyone said around great presentation and communication. It seems like you guys are pretty planning on investing in VR pretty significantly on the roadmap here. Do you guys view like risk around R&D or consumer adoption for VR as something that's maybe the biggest risk in this plan? Yeah.
Yeah, so to address that question, first we looked at some of the reasons why VR hasn't been developed as much lately, because it's been around for quite a long time, but no one has really taken the initiative to develop it in the console market. And that is because game developers, they don't see a big interest in VR, but at the same time, people don't have interest in VR because there's no good game. So it's basically like a cycle. And the way that the way we tackle this is because we own a lot of subsidiary studios. So technically, we can take the initiative to develop those games. And this is actually our strong suit because our subsidiary studios have done a way better job in developing games than our competitor Xbox. So we think that we can use this to our advantage and take the lead in the VR console market, the thing that no one has done yet.
Thank you. Good explanation.
Any other questions, judges? No? All right, well, in that case, thank you so much, Team 5. The results will be released on Tuesday, 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So in the meantime, try to relax your brains and spend the rest of the day enjoying yourselves. Thank you so much for a great presentation.
Thank you,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Team 6. Welcome. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you see all of your team members here? Cool. Just as a reminder, you will have 10 minutes to present. We will alert you at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You'll see that in the chat, and then again at 30 seconds. Then you'll have a 7-minute Q&A session. So I'll count you down, and then you can begin. 3, 2, 1, go for it.
Introducing our PS5 Global Implementation Plan. More than just a console. Next slide, please.
Current gaming trends consist primarily of cloud services, mobile games, and the recent expansion of 5G networking. The industry has experienced growth due to increasing average income and a growing interest in video gaming as a hobby. As you look to the right side of the slide, the visual represents the level of market activity that the gaming industry upholds in each region. Listed below are the regions, along with the compound annual growth rate of their gaming industry. The CAGR can be deceiving because emerging markets are able to grow quickly as compared to established ones. It's also important to note that the gaming industry includes many large companies that each bring their own products to the table, such as Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. Next slide, please.
Sony SWOT analysis. First, strength. Sony justifies its fame by highlighting quality, ramping up R&D input, and lowering production costs, thereby setting the gold standard in the field. Due to a variety of exclusive games, the company enjoys a mounting patent licensing revenue. Sony has amassed a loyal customer base thanks to constant efforts to incentivize returning customers. Next, we have weaknesses. Sony spends high on marketing but gets a moderate return on assets of 2.8%. These become shackles that weaken Sony's stand. Now, opportunities. Firstly, the gaming industry is projected to grow at a CAGR of 12.9%. Second, COVID gives the company a boost as Sony depends heavily on the gaming network. Finally, threats. Stiff, massive competitors in key industries and worsening worldwide counterfeit issue pose a peril to Sony's revenues and profits. Next slide, please.
How do we convince the consumer to choose the PS5 and switch over from the PS4? The first challenge is justifying the high price due to complex and custom components like the new cooling system. This system is a huge improvement on the heavily criticized PS4 fan system, which has been described as loud as a jet. The next challenge is convincing the consumer that the PS5 has the best tech. Ray tracing technology, haptic feedback, and an SSD will be eye-opening features to PS4 owners and people coming from other consoles. Lastly, we will focus on PS5 exclusive games, backwards compatibility, and a new and improved PlayStation app to further attract previous and new PlayStation owners. Next slide, please.
Introducing PlayStation Inspire and PlayStation Flex, harnessing Sony's power to add value to our complex world. First, let's start with PlayStation Inspire, the Mind, a cutting-edge education-oriented platform available with the PS5. Inspire consists of 5 educational games teaching young children school subjects, all for a $9.99 monthly subscription. So what are the games? We plan to partner with publishers of the 5 best educational games of the year and craft specific deals to incentivize publishers described in detail to the left. As seen from statistics at the bottom left, both teachers and students see added value in incorporating video games into school education, which we plan to utilize through forming contracts with schools in local Japan. Now let's talk about PlayStation Flex, the Body, a unique fitness platform also available on the PS5. Flex consists of interactive fitness games and pre-recorded sessions while also being available on PlayStation VR, all for a $9.99 monthly subscription. So how will we incentivize users? We plan to reward users with PlayStation points towards the PS Store based on how many calories they burn while exercising, thereby increasing store sales as users utilize their earned credit towards purchasing games. We plan to offer both Flex and Inspire together for $15 a month, or for $99.99, we package a full year of PS Plus, PS Inspire, and Flex, cost effective for returning PS Plus users. Next slide, please.
I don't know if you've ever used a PlayStation app, but it's painful to use. The confusing interface, unnecessary division of apps, and annoying authentication process all lead to a frustrating user experience. Introducing PlayStation Go, the new hub for everything PlayStation, including PlayStation Live, Now, and mobile. PS Go connects all 3 previous PlayStation apps with an upgraded UI and brings the addition of PS Live, And as the Twitch continuously loses its viewership, it is the perfect time to grow PS Live. We will incentivize viewers with in-game exclusive loot drops. We will also run ads on PS Live, and the viewer can pay to remove them. These ads will incentivize streamers to join, as they can get a 15% cut of revenue gained from their advertisements. Next slide, please.
PS5 expansion strategy. Among the 6 key regions, we'd like to highlight 3 critical markets: North America, Japan, and China. First, North America. We recommend Sony to expand its cloud gaming service. Sony's PlayStation Now provides a seamless gaming experience. We'll focus on optimizing PS Go to ensure the best user experience and gaining momentum for Inspire and Flex to improve obesity numbers and make citizens mentally healthy and happy. Taking these into account, we give the NA region a 4-star rating. Next up, we have 5-star Japan, our home market, where Sony holds absolute dominance. We suggest expanding into the Japanese anime markets with PS Live and the healthcare market with the launch of PS Flex to help tackle Japan's worsening aging population. The introduction of PS Inspire will also help reduce world's 7th highest suicide rate and promote mental health. Our last key region is China, a powerhouse in the world's biggest streaming market. The launch of PS Inspire will target the insufficient literacy rate in Chinese rural areas, and PS Flex will be introduced to better the aging population and increasing suboptimal health rate, especially among students. In addition, advertise PS Go and work with the government to settle some contracts and deals are the ideal situation. Now let's turn our eyes to the charts on the right. As keys, the lighter blue means the current market share that Sony occupies, the navy blue displays the market share held by Sony's competitors, and the dark blue on the outside shows the projected market value of the industry by 2025. Next slide, please.
The impact versus feasibility graph displays the possibility of certain PS5 upgrade initiatives and their respective impact on the PS5 as a product. Although there are many initiatives to choose from, we want to isolate the options with the highest feasibility to impact ratio. Consistently updating hardware, advertising our exclusive game pool, and downsizing the PS5 model are all initiatives that do not yield the best output. Options such as PS Inspire, PS Flex, and PS Go, however, will make more of an impact while at the same time be easier to manage in other initiatives. Rising prices is also something we hope to avoid, given how the prices of our console already compare with those of our competitors. Next slide, please.
What do we expect the revenue and the profits from the sale of the PS5 to be? As depicted on the top chart, taking into account the variables listed on the right, we expect PS5 revenues to go at an annualized rate of 11.7% before peaking in 2024 with around $12 billion in sales that year. Profits will follow a similar trail, being that profit margins are a steady 10% on the PS5. After the 2024 peak, we expect a steady annualized decline in PS5 sales of 16% until 2030, with profits also following a steady decline. There are 2 critical risks Sony faces involving production and sale of the PS5. The first critical risk is a shrinking Japanese gaming market. As seen on the chart to the right, Sony's revenue and profit extracted from the Japanese gaming market, which generates 30% of Sony's annual revenue, has been decreasing for the last 5 years. The solution is a transition to separate markets using the 3 subscription-based services, PS Go, PS Inspire, and PS Flex. The second critical risk is the PS5's high manufacturing costs depicted on the chart to the left. The combination of custom high-powered parts has resulted in a measly profit margin of 10% for each PS5 sold, disregarding marketing costs. The solution lies in custom components being tailored to complaints of PS4 users and a strong commitment to implementing user feedback to retain customers. Next slide, please.
Some key performance indicators to think about are the revenue and units of PS5s being sold. By 2025, we expect to see at least 100 million units sold, resulting in a revenue of $53 billion. We want to see 2% of users subscribe to Inspire and Flex, and at least 15% of these users to download PS Go. By 2030, we project the unit sales to increase to 175 million. At this point, we expect 5% of users to be subscribed to Inspire and Flex, and to have 30 million PS Go downloads. In the future, Sony should be actively updating Inspire, Flex, and Go. For future generations of the PlayStation, Sony should focus on decreasing the price while increasing mobility. Expanding PS Live and Now will also be critical in the future. Next slide, please.
Here is a visualization of the 6 core pieces of our strategic implementation plan, outlining guidelines for Sony to follow in years to come. Firstly, we want Sony to prioritize the development of the PS Go app, providing a better experience for the users who purchase the PS5. We believe Sony can publish the app by 2021 and provide users a unique experience through direct compatibility with the PS5. Following the creation of PS Go, Sony should prioritize the production of PS Inspire and Flex services, releasing the first versions by 2023 and opening a pre-order by 2022. We hope to upgrade the PS Inspire and Flex software by 2026, ultimately solidifying their success in subsequent years. Regarding the PS5, we hope the current launch date can stay on schedule, with initial launch occurring near the end of 2020 to early 2021, and with a hardware upgrade taking place in 2026, ultimately helping to retain our player base whilst also attracting new customers. Given the services and updates we have arranged to accompany the launch of the PS5, we are confident the console can thrive for 10 years before the launch of the PS6 becomes necessary. Finally, we are hopeful that PlayStation Now can gain popularity in the coming years due to our intensive expansion plan outlined earlier, with 12.5% of the total PlayStation player base actively using the service by the year 2031. Any other questions?
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for a wonderful presentation. Apoor, we'll start with you again.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for your presentation. Very, very comprehensive. Great job. Really enjoyed sort of walking through the timeline. I would love to, I guess, go back to, if you could go back one slide to your timeline. Could you, I mean, maybe we ran out of time, but I would love to hear, on the first plan, how did you guys get to, I guess, thinking of the numbers that you have on the slide on % penetration for the first one and the second one? And why is 10 to 12% sort of the ceiling for your terminal adoption?
So we're all going to answer regarding different pieces of the timeline. For the first piece of the timeline, regarding Inspire and Flex with their sales, for Inspire, the reason why we want 2 to 5% of people purchasing Inspire and Flex, and why we believe that, is because when you look at games like Kahoot and Quizlet Live in schools, over 5 million teachers use it, and over 800 million kids have used Quizlet Live or Kahoot just in America alone. So we believe that if we were able to obtain 2 million users, then that would be equivalent to 2% in the first 5 years. So that's where we got the numbers for Inspire. For Flex, when you look at the most popular fitness game on the PS4, it's called VR Boxing. It has sold over 2 million copies, and as we mentioned before, 2 million would meet our 2% quota. So if we could outsell that game using the strategies that are equipped with the PS5, because it's its own game, so of course they're going to advertise it. So that's why we believe for Inspire and Flex we can get those numbers. I'm going to pass it to Andrew for PS Go.
So the numbers we got for PS Go are derived from the current PlayStation app users, along with other streaming platforms like Twitch or what was formerly Mixer. The growth also relates to the growth of streaming and the gaming market in general.
And finally, I just want to say for PlayStation Now, the numbers we got for that, PlayStation Now is a service that already exists in PlayStation, and we based our calculations for how many people we want to be actively using it based off of how successful it has already been in the past years from when it has been released.
Cool.
Great, thank you.
Shall I go now?
Yeah.
I really like the mind and body opportunity that you presented. I figure that there would be a different way that you would have to market this, because games probably comes through from pressure from the children to their parents to buy the game for them. Whereas moving into the education space, there wouldn't be that pressure perhaps from the children so much. And also, of course, with the fitness. So how would you market to a completely new customer base or user base?
So to answer that question, can we please go to the mind and body slide so we can take a look at that? So as you can see in the bottom left with those statistics, the real market we're trying to reach is either in schools or for at home to learn school-related subjects. When you look at those statistics, you see that 70% of teachers claim educational games improve the attention span of students. So what we believe is that this could be a different opportunity rather than for most schools that just have writing on paper learning for 8 hours a day. It might be a way to grab the attention of students for maybe an hour a day during, like, in the middle of the day during lunch, and then you can go back to sort of the paper school learning. So regarding Inspire, we believe that it can be utilized and we can market it in schools, specifically in Japan too, because Sony holds such a dominant position in that market. Regarding Flex, the marketing behind that is we would want to market to younger and middle-aged gamers, because as we know, a lot of avid gamers who play PS4 and will play the PS5 are generally inside a lot of the day, and they obviously enjoy playing games. So the incentives of earning PS points from burning calories, that it'll keep them with a common goal in mind after working out. And other than that, we believe that they'll be incentivized to buy it just because they also may or may not be like insecure about weight, or maybe they don't feel like they don't want to go to a gym, because I know a lot of people who don't like traveling to gyms because they're insecure of how they look, so they may want to work out at home. So we plan to market to younger and middle-aged people for that. So that's my answer.
Thank you.
And last one.
Nice job, guys. Thanks for joining us in the middle of the Eagles game. I'm sure that was a tough one. Just quick random question, where are you guys at school?
So we all go to Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. It's in Philadelphia, near the outside of Philadelphia. So we're also big avid Eagles fans ourselves.
I went to Haverford.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Okay. Anyway,
I've visited there, or my children have visited there as well in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's a great city. We got a good fan base, but not looking too good right now.
Yeah, we just scored. Question on pricing. How did you guys, why $10 a month? Why $15 a month? How did you guys kind of triangulate the pricing there?
So our pricing is based on various indicators, including competitors. For PlayStation Inspire, it could be other educational platforms, and then we evaluate various indicators to figure out the price that suits our description: education-oriented platform for all, and as Keith said, to appeal to our customer base. And for Flex, it could be other fitness platforms established by other major players on the market. And yeah, same story. We evaluate these factors, and including could say market activity, etc., to eventually figure out what price we want and how do we want to implement those strategies. Yes.
And to quickly add to that, for the $9.99 price point, we actually made it a little bit more expensive than you might expect, like, for example, $7.49. But the reason why we made it a little more expensive is to incentivize people to find those deals, as you can see in the bottom of the slide we're on. Like, for example, I know so many people who buy the $60 PS Plus membership, and for only $40 to get both Flex and Inspire for a whole year, it's really a wonderful deal. And that's time. But I'm hoping that answered that question. Thank you.
Great answers, guys.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. The results will be released on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So that's Monday for you guys. In the meantime, have a great rest of your Sunday, and go Eagles.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Good one.
See you guys. Good job.